What if the world's next great superpower isn't who you think? Not the US, not China, but India.
Are you kidding? India, with streets of chaos, Ganges swimmers and no toilets?
Yes, India, the land of ancient civilizations, Bollywood and bustling streets, is now making a bold play for global dominance. Former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair didn't mince words. He declared, by 2050, there will be 3 global superpowers: the United States, China and India. That's not just diplomatic flattery, it's becoming a geopolitical reality. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is already gearing up. His goal is to make India a developed country by 2047. It's 100 years of independence. And more urgently, to transform India into the 3rd largest economic superpower by the end of his 3rd term. Sounds impressive, isn't it? India has already leapfrogged the UK in GDP, cementing itself as the world's 5th biggest economy. The momentum is real, the ambition is huge, the clock is ticking, but here is a twist. Is India's rise unstoppable, or is it the dream running ahead of reality? Hit a like button, subscribe, and let's peel back the numbers, the politics, the power plays, and the painful contradictions to uncover whether India is on a track to become the world's next superpower, or if the world is buying into a new beautifully wrapped illusion. India is racing up the economic leaderboard, now the 5th largest economy, leapfrogging the UK in 2023.
Morgan Stanley boldly predicts it will surpass Japan and Germany by 2027, making India the world's 3rd largest economy. Sounds like a superpower in the making, right? But here's where the story takes a sharp turn. GDP growth, which once roared above 8%, has dipped to just 5.6% in the 2nd quarter of 2024, a sharp slowdown that's raising eyebrows. For a country with over 1.4 billion people, that's not just a number, it's a warning sign. Urban consumption, a key engine of growth, is faltering. Spending in cities has taken a hit, and rural demand isn't picking up the slack. Exports flatlined. Global demand has cooled, and India's manufacturing hasn't filled the gap. Even wages are stuck in neutral. While the economy expands on paper, the average Indian isn't feeling richer. Household incomes have barely moved, and unemployment remains stubbornly high, especially among youth and graduates.
Yes, the headlines look shiny, but scratch the surface and the foundation starts to wobble. Growth is crucial, but superpowers are built on more than just GDP rankings. Sustainable wealth, job creation and global influence matter just as much. So, are we witnessing the rise of true economic titan, or just a mirage fueled by momentum and media hype? India just overtook China to become the world's most populous country. A staggering 1.4 billion people and counting. On paper, that sounds like a massive advantage. More people, more power, right? But in reality, it's a pressure cooker ready to blow.
Nearly half of India's population is under 30, a demographic goldmine known as the youth bulge. But here's the catch: youth unemployment is soaring. Shockingly, 65.7% of the unemployed are educated young people, graduates and diploma holders who can't find jobs matching their skills. Imagine millions of hopefuls with degrees, stuck on the sidelines. Meanwhile, women are still largely missing from the workforce. Despite education levels rising for girls and women, female participation in India's labor market hovers around a painfully low 30%. That's one of the lowest rates globally, meaning half the population's potential is untapped, weakening the very foundation of growth. This mismatch between population size and productive employment creates a ticking time bomb. Too many people chasing too few quality jobs, and the frustration is growing.
India's population advantage could be its greatest strength, or its biggest challenge. Will it turn this human wave into unstoppable momentum, or will the weight of unemployment, inequality and social pressures hold it back? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. India is home to more billionaires than ever before, yet billions still struggle to make ends meet.
The gap between the ultra-rich and the rest is so wide, it makes even colonial-era inequalities look almost equal. With a per capita annual income of just $2,400, India remains a lower middle-income country. That means while some are living in luxury, millions barely earn enough for basic needs. According to the World Inequality Lab, income inequality in India is worse than in the US, Brazil, and South Africa, countries notorious for their wealth divides. Economist Thomas Piketty has been clear. India should be far more aggressive in taxing its rich to bridge this gap. But with Prime Minister Modi's close ties to powerful billionaires, questions swirl about whether the government will take bold action or continue to favor the wealthy few. Despite impressive GDP growth, India's Human Development Index ranks a disappointing 130 out of 191 countries, and this means millions still face poor health, limited education, and inadequate living conditions, making the dream of becoming a developed nation far from guaranteed.
India's wealth story is one of extremes, a nation where enormous riches and crushing poverty exist side by side, shaping a future full of uncertainty. India's geopolitical game is a high-stakes balancing act between the world's biggest powers. On the one hand, it's growing closer to the US, sharing strategic interests and defense partnerships. On the other, India keeps friendly ties with Russia, its longtime arms supplier. This delicate dance lets India avoid picking sides outright while expanding its global influence.
Leading the G20 in 2023 gave India a major boost in international stature, showcasing its ambitions on the world stage. Prime Minister Modi's government has also become more diplomatically assertive, whether responding firmly to border clashes with China or conducting operations beyond its borders. These moves signal India's desire to be seen as a serious player. Yet despite this rising profile, India's power projection still has clear limits. Its military modernization faces challenges, and diplomatic reach can't yet match that of China or the US. Infrastructure, technology, and global networks still need strengthening before India can truly claim a spot among the top global powers. For now, India walks the tightrope carefully, juggling interests and ambitions, gaining influence but still far from the full superpower status it dreams of.
The question is whether this balancing act can last as the world's power dynamics continue to shift. India's dream of superpower status hits a wall when it comes to infrastructure and institutions. Fast internet and booming tech startups grab headlines, but beneath the surface, critical gaps remain.
Roads, ports, and energy systems often falter, slowing growth and investment. Unlike China or the West, India hasn't yet developed large-scale outbound investment or the soft power of foreign aid to influence global affairs. Experts like Garcia Herrero argue that true power comes from building mature, stable institutions, not just flashy slogans or economic numbers. That means reducing political interference, strengthening the rule of law, and creating consistent policies that last beyond election cycles. Without these deep structural reforms, India risks stumbling despite its potential.
The path to superpower status demands more than just ambition. It requires serious, sustained change to the country's backbone. Can India make that leap? The future depends on it. India stands at a crossroads. It has the potential, the population, and the momentum to become a global superpower, but deep contradictions still hold it back. Massive inequality, a weak job market, and slow progress in human development cast long shadows over the dream. The reality is complicated. India is rising but also facing serious hurdles that could stall its ascent. The next 25 years will be critical. Will India overcome these challenges and take its place among the world's leading powers, or will the dream fade into a super mirage, dazzling but out of reach? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, hit that like button, subscribe and share this video so you don't miss our upcoming content. Catch you in the next one.